The WNBA All-Star draft was fun between Caitlin Clark and Napheesa Collier, the team captains, picking the players, picking the rosters. But the most interesting aspect was the coach swap, because Clark traded Cheryl Reeve, who was the coach of her team, or was to be the coach of her team, to Collier for Sandy Brondello, the coach of the New York Liberty.
Forget player trades and draft picks. The most savage moment of the WNBA All-Star draft came when Caitlin Clark looked into the camera and publicly fired her own coach. This wasn't just a trade, it was a cold-blooded act of revenge against Cheryl Reeve, the very coach who snubbed her from the Olympic team and spent months publicly undermining her. In one stunning move on live television, Clark exposed a bitter rivalry and settled a score that had been simmering for months. This is the story of how Caitlin Clark took complete control, executed a public takedown, and proved that she now runs the entire league.
Caitlin Clark just made the funniest All-Star selections ever. She just picked her friends. She picked her friends. She made sure she picked no ops, as people like to call them. She made sure there were no ops on her team. If she's played with a player before, like Sonia Citron, she picked her. Gabby Williams, she picked nobody that's tweeted a negative thing about her. She's picked nobody that has said a negative thing about her in the media. She picked none of her rivals.
To understand this stunning power play, you have to go back. This wasn't a sudden impulse, it was the explosive finale to a silent war fought in the shadows of social media and press conferences. For months, Cheryl Reeve, the decorated coach of the Minnesota Lynx, had been casting subtle jabs at Caitlin Clark. While Clark was shattering viewership records and bringing unprecedented attention to the league, Reeve was on Twitter, posting hashtags like 12 teams and reminding everyone that the Wismore Thenon player. To the casual observer, these were harmless posts, but to everyone watching closely, the message was clear. Reeve was more.
Yo, this is the first time I've ever seen this, man. The first time out of all the times I've seen where two star players are picking up players. They ask for a trade, or the median person asks for a trade, and they're talking about trading the coach.
It was a classic case of the old guard feeling threatened by the new phenom. Reeve, a respected figure with championships to her name, seemed unable to accept that the league's meteoric rise was undeniably tied to one player. Instead of celebrating the Caitlin Clark effect that was lifting all boats, she positioned herself as a critic. Her comments were a quiet campaign to diminish the impact of the league's biggest star, a narrative of disrespect built brick by brick, tweet by tweet. Each post was another signal that she believed Clark's fame was unearned or disproportionate, but she was about to find out that Clark keeps receipts, and the bill was about to come due.
With you here, Caitlin, you said you might be aggressive on the trade market once this opened up. Is there any player that you're looking to get to? And remember, it has to be apples to apples trade here. Starter for starter, reserve for reserve. The good news is you can't go wrong with this type of talent. Anyone looking to make a deal here?
To be completely honest, I love my team. I think they're great. I don't have any intentions of really trading any of them. I don't know if this is in the rules. I don't really care. But I think we've already discussed we are going to trade coaches. Fee's going to take her coach, Sandy Brondello.
The tension escalated from subtle digs to a full-blown betrayal with the Olympic team announcement. As the head coach for Team USA, Cheryl Reeve held the most powerful position in determining the roster for the Paris Olympics. When Caitlin Clark, arguably the most famous basketball player on the planet, was shockingly left off the team, all eyes turned to Reeve for an explanation. The media exploded. Fans were outraged. It was the sports world's biggest story, and Reeve was at the center of it.
Caitlin Clark was supposed to be coached by Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve. Napheesa Collier was supposed to be coached by New York Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello. They swapped coaches. Cheryl Reeve, dodged the bullet. Thank God I don't need to coach Caitlin Clark, man. Man, I can't deal with that. I would have had to swallow so much pride, I can't do that. Fee, she probably called in the Fee, talk to Caitlin, please. I can't coach her, I can't do it. This book's about to come out. You know what they're going to be saying if I'm coaching Caitlin Clark and the book's out? Oh, God. Fee, please.
Her response was a masterclass in passive aggression and deflection. In press conferences, she dodged questions, offered vague non-answers about team chemistry and veteran experience, and effectively washed her hands of the decision, implying it was a committee choice she had little influence over. But no one was buying it. The silence was deafening. For Clark's massive fan base, it was all the confirmation they needed. This wasn't just a professional decision. It felt like a personal slight from a coach who was actively working to gatekeep the sport's biggest stage from its brightest star. It was the deepest cut yet, a public humiliation that Clark would not forget.
Of course, Reeve is Collier's head coach for the Minnesota Lynx, so that makes sense. But the drama is going to come from Reeve having previously been critical on social media about the amount of attention Clark received relative to the rest of the league, not to mention being the coach of Team USA that Caitlin Clark was so famously snubbed from.
And that brings us back to the live All-Star draft on ESPN. The stage was set, the cameras were rolling, with the world watching. The host turned to Clark to discuss potential player trades. This was the moment. This was Cheryl Reeve's worst nightmare realized on a national stage. Clark looked straight into the camera, a picture of calm, almost unsettling confidence, and delivered the final blow. "I don't have any intentions of really trading any of my players," she began, letting the anticipation build. Then she dropped the hammer. "I don't know if this is in the rules. I don't really care. We are going to trade coaches." In that one sentence, the power dynamic of the entire league was shattered and rewritten. This wasn't a backroom deal or a polite request. It was a public execution. The phrase, "I don't really care," was a stunning display of audacity, a clear message that she was operating on a level where the normal rules no longer applied to her. She didn't just ask for a trade, she announced it as an unchangeable fact, leaving Reeve and the league officials to scramble in the wake of her power play. She had taken control of the broadcast, and with it, her own destiny. The woman Reeve tried to sideline had just proven she owned the entire stage.
Odell was like, "Oh yeah, this is good. This is good. This is good." So wait, Caitlin Clark had Chrissy Sides, who never let her. Okay, now she's got Stephanie White, who wants to do off ball. Oh, okay. And now Sadie Bardell's like, "Wait, oh, I could show Caitlin what she's been missing this whole entire. I can set up an offense like." Oh, here comes recruitment year of 2028.
But this move wasn't just about petty revenge. It was a brilliant strategic upgrade. Clark didn't just get rid of a coach who clearly didn't respect her. She acquired a proven winner. She traded Reeve to the opposing team in exchange for Sandy Brondello, the head coach of the New York Liberty. The contrast between the two could not be more stark. While Reeve had spent her time criticizing Clark's impact, Brondello had spent her time in the WNBA Finals, leading the Liberty to back-to-back appearances with her modern, star-friendly offense.
Caitlin Clark actually has a complete roster to start her team. She's got Caitlin Clark at the 1, Sabrina Ionescu at the 2, Satu Sabali at the 3. She must have heard the chatter in the offseason of fans saying, "Let's get Satu Sabali." I'm just saying, she might have heard a thing or two. We got AB at the 4 and Asia Wilson at the 5. Starters for starters, this should be a victory. I know it's the All-Star game, but
Brondello is a coach known for handling elite talent and building championship-level systems. Her reaction to the trade said it all. When her son texted her, "Mom, you got traded," she thought the whole thing was fun and embraced the moment with a laugh. Clark had surgically removed a source of negativity, a coach who viewed her as a problem, and replaced her with a championship-caliber leader who saw her as an asset. It was a checkmate move that showed she was thinking far beyond the immediate drama. She was choosing excellence over toxicity and winning over politics.
Between the players was a lot of fun, and Caitlin Clark also wound up with all of the Fever members on her squad as well, meaning Aaliyah Boston, Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell will be a trio in Indianapolis for All-Star. So that's the way it went down. Here are the teams. You can see Caitlin Clark celebrating what she was able to accomplish here. That's her squad. Clark, Boston, Ionescu, Wilson, Sabali, Mitchell, Gabby Williams. I love Gabby Williams. What a player. Sonia Citron, Kiki Iriafen, Jackie Young, Thornton, Kayla Thornton from the Valkyries. So Clark should have a very fast team there.
With her new coach secured, Clark turned her attention to building an army. Her draft strategy was a masterclass in both loyalty and ambition. With her very first pick, she selected her Indiana Fever teammate Aaliyah Boston. sending a clear message to the league. She takes care of those in her corner. Her first reserve pick was another Fever teammate, Kelsey Mitchell, ensuring her team's core chemistry was locked in. But after securing her loyalists, she built a fortress of superstars around them, assembling a roster that looked less like an all-star team and more like a basketball dynasty.
Now as Gangster Clark heard Cheryl Crusted Blueberry Muffin-ass Reeve being salty in that press conference, throwing shade at the Fever and said, nope, get her punk ass up out of here. She ain't about to coach my team for the All-Star game, and that's why I call her Gangster Clark, because whatever Gangster Clark wants, Gangster Clark gets.
She drafted 3-time MVP Aja Wilson, a dominant force in the paint. She then created a dream backcourt by selecting the three-point assassin Sabrina Ionescu, uniting two of the greatest shooters of their generation. She added size, scoring, and international experience with Satu Sabali. The roster was stacked with winners, MVPs, and rising stars. She didn't just assemble a team, she created a super team designed for one purpose: total domination. This roster was a statement that her ambitions went far beyond just being an all-star. She was there to win, and she had handpicked the soldiers to do it with.
Bruh, tell me y'all just saw Caitlin Clark destroy Cheryl Reeves on national TV. I know y'all saw free smoke, ayy, free smoke, ayy, free smoke, ayy, free smoke. Bruh, Caitlin Clark want all the smoke. Bruh. Bruh, she just annihilated Cheryl Reeve on national television. I didn't see that coming. They asked Caitlin Clark, hey, Caitlin, are there any player trades you like to make? Nah, I'm kind of set with my team, but I would like to trade coaches.
The fallout from the trade was immediate and explosive. Social media erupted in a tidal wave of support for Clark as fans celebrated what they saw as the ultimate boss move. The internet lit up with comments. Caitlin just fired her own hater on national TV, and I am here for it, one user wrote. Another added, goodbye, Cheryl. Clark just proved she runs this league, not the coaches. The narrative of Gangster Clark was born, a player who was done being the polite rookie and was ready to take what she wanted with no apologies.
When you look at it, I mean, Williams is really fast for a forward. Obviously, Kelsey's very fast. Citron's very fast. Jackie Young's one of my favorite players. Iriafin, a rookie, can get up and down the floor. Ionescu can help spread the floor along with Kelsey and Clark so they can really shoot. Caitlin made sure to get some size. She actually passed up on Paige Beckers to take Sabali, and she took Aja Wilson with her third pick. If Aja had fallen any further down
the court of public opinion delivered a swift and unanimous verdict. Clark was the hero, the power broker who had finally stood up to the establishment. Reeve, meanwhile, was cast as the villain who got what she deserved. While Reeve's camp was silent, likely reeling from the public embarrassment, Clark was being crowned the new queen of the WNBA. The fans' verdict was clear. They not only supported the move, but saw it as long overdue justice for a star who had been unfairly targeted.
I don't know what's gotten into Caitlin Clark. You are leaning into this bad guy role. I love it. I don't know what's gotten into you, Caitlin Clark, but you've been on some I don't give a F lately. I love it. Oh my God, I cannot believe she just eviscerated and embarrassed Cheryl Reeve on national TV like that. They said, hey, would you like to make a player trade? It's better yet, I'll do you one better. Get this fucking coach up out of here. Hey, Caitlin Clark ain't playing.
In the end, this was so much more than a coach trade. It was the culmination of a year of quiet disrespect and public slights. It was Caitlin Clark looking the entire sports establishment in the eye and declaring that the old rules no longer apply to her. She endured the subtle criticism, she weathered the storm of the Olympic snub, and she waited for the perfect moment to respond. That response wasn't a bitter interview or a cryptic tweet. It was a clean, decisive, and ruthless move on the biggest stage possible.
Sorry, WNBA, if that's not in the rule. Sorry, ESPN, if that's not in the rules, but we just made it a rule. So, Sandy Brondello, come on over.
Whoa!
Let's get to it. You can coach Sabrina So therefore, maybe Stewie wants to come on over to my team.
Whoa.
Let me know. B, you want to give me Stewie?
We have breaking news here. I don't know that I've heard of a coach being traded in the All-Star game. This is something you're agreeing to, Fee. There's no terms to this deal.
I agree with Cheryl. I agree with the trade. I love Cheryl. She's my coach here. And you know what? That's just going to be worse for Team Clark because now we got more chemistry on our side. We got more synergy. We know what we expect from each other. So that was a bad move on your part, Kayla. We're taking you down.
The message sent to Cheryl Reeve and the rest of the league was unmistakable. If you are not with Caitlin Clark, you are in her way, and she is now powerful enough to move you. This wasn't just a moment in an all-star draft. It was the beginning of a new era. It represents a monumental shift in player empowerment, where a single star's influence can outweigh that of a championship-winning coach. It was a declaration that Caitlin Clark is no longer just playing the game, she's running it. And the rest of the league can either get on board or get left behind.